Hey everybody, welcome back to the LuckyDog podcast. This is your host, Elias Rauch. Today we are discussing Westworld Season 2, Episode 9. Just quick thoughts and just impressions on how the episode went. It was more of a flashback episode that would bring us back into Will's shoes and his mindset of what was going on with him and his wife and their interaction, as well as Emily, their daughter, and where things started to go wrong. I think it was one of the final nights that Will's wife was alive. So I thought this episode did a pretty good job of giving us backstory, filling us in, fleshing out the characters of Will and Emily, his daughter. Like I said, the main part of this, the core of the episode, really relied on if you believed that the wife and William really had this falling out. And I think they did a pretty good job explaining it in the way that it was presented. William's wife went through his portfolio, his Westworld portfolio, and essentially saw everything that he's done, especially regarding Dolores. They did a lot with this episode without saying too much, I think. And I think that's what is the important aspect about this this episode that works. They had some great acting, some great writing, amazing shots, amazing dynamic storytelling is what I'm basically getting at. I thought the interaction with Will and Emily, his daughter, was it went all over the place. At first, I was like, okay, where is this going? We're sitting in the middle of the woods, and we're just discussing the plan. Will starts discussing about his why is Ford out here. Well, let me rewind. So, since Will's taken out there by Emily, he starts to form and believe that Emily is a host, and given that, he ends up shooting her. So, do we, as the audience, believe that she is a host? Is William crazy? Was that his daughter? Did he just shoot his daughter? Did that actually live up to our expectations? I was hella shocked when he did it. I've watched the episode twice when the guys were coming to save him. It was 10 minutes even before then that Will had even formed the decision that he thought that Emily was a host. And he was he looked like 80% sure, but one of the problems was if you go back and watch the episode, William is talking to Emily as if that's his daughter for the majority of the time, and then starts to slowly form that she's a host. But even when he starts to think that she's a host, he continuously explains his plan, and he explains how they have been capturing and monitoring hosts, capturing guests' behaviors, and they've been basically transferring and copying and mimicking everything through the hats. It seems that the Westworld hats are scanning our brain, I don't know, wirelessly, and sending all of our conscious and unconscious thoughts to the Westworld computers, which I guess they have the power to do that. And I'm not 100% sure I explained that correctly, but I am pretty sure that That's how it works. The technical aspects, it's scanning through the hat and it's sending it all back to the computers and the core hard drives or whatever. The cloud, whatever we want to call it, the Westworld cloud. But yes, when that happened, it was kind of a shift in tone. Not only were we flashing back with William when his wife passed, but we're also flashing forward to when he's taking out his daughter and considering possible suicide. And we are getting flashes of Will pulling at his arm, where the same way Host were pulling at their arms if they were going to plug into the system. So at the very end of the episode, we're left with Ed Harris as Will, reconsidering pulling the trigger on suicide, and he's taking a knife to his arm and digging at it as if he's going for the plug-in where the Host normally plug in. So is Will already a transferred consciousness into a new Host body? So are we basically looking at a Host? Are we looking at a Host? That's the real question. I say I thought my guess was an episode ago that if not several episodes ago, if Ed Harris was in a real body, he was going to get transferred into a Host body. But if he was going to do that, why stay quote unquote old? Why wouldn't you transfer into a young body? So if he is a robot, I am surprised that he's old Will instead of young Will. Most people, wouldn't they transfer to the younger self, not their older self? So that's another thing that I was always thinking about with Ford. Like, if Ford is in the machine as a ghost, did he program himself to be old Ford? I know that for the sake of not having to make young Ford like all the time, it would be extremely expensive trying to make young Ford, like they did in the first season and a little bit in the second. So it's much more affordable to have the old Ford. I'm just saying that, wouldn't most people choose the younger form of themselves? I don't know. Sometimes the older form, I guess they would embrace a little bit more. Something I always thought about. But, it does change the dynamic on Will's character if he is already a Host. I think this is the only, indication that we've gotten this thus far that he might be a Host. I feel like that he's not been grabbing his arm. He's not been doing any of this crazy stuff. It showed that he was cleared by the guards that came up, and his daughter was too. I think she was cleared because they both scanned the back of their necks and cleared them as humans. And I even after that, I couldn't believe Will did that. So, I just have a lot of questions and not many answers for y'all. For the listeners, of course, this is all speculation. What can you say? The best thing that we have to look forward to is Robert's upload to Maeve, but what I'm feeling is a massive cliffhanger happening at the end of 10, because I feel that we're not going to have enough time to finish everything up and get where we wanted. What I wanted was to see the robots go touch mainland and have interaction with the world, and what it feels like is the majority of season 2 has been them escaping the island, and season 1 was more of building the world, and now we're escaping the world, and we're still on the island. But I think by the end of this, we're gonna have, I don't know, this is gonna be some predictions coming up. I think that at the end of 10, we are going to have some of our best hosts, like Hector, Maeve, Armistice, and I don't have faith in Dolores getting off the island, but I'm not sure. But I think those are the main crew. Maybe with Sizemore, and all them. I think they might be hitting mainland. That would be a exciting feat, but I don't think that we're gonna see much of it. So I don't know. Who knows? Dolores has to get her father, so this whole season, Dolores has had to get her father. Mavis had to get her daughter, but there's been these obstacles that have been holding them back from, getting whoever they need. And they both have incredible powers. They both have capabilities to take down a miraculous number of hosts or guests. And I just feel like this storyline should have been wrapped up by now, and it's definitely felt like I don't know, it's stretched out. It's started to feel like this is maybe a 7-episode series that has been stretched out to a 10-episode series, and we've had some good filler episodes in there, but they've started to become more relevant as filler episodes now that we're kind of rounding out. And if I'm correct by predicting that the end is going to show them touching mainland, I'm the host touching mainland and escaping the island, then that was what I wanted at the beginning of season 2. But if it's done, in cool fashion, we get some, cool fights or cool robots, action, I don't know, and some nice scenic escapes, and we've had, but I kind of forgot to mention that Teddy shot himself, and Dolores is pretty torn up about that. So why did Teddy do that? He didn't want to hurt Dolores, but he didn't want to go any further. He was not happy with how he had been changed, and as an individual that has had to see a decent amount of suicide through famous individuals and then people that are around you, it is a little jarring to see so many people just pull a gun and have a gun and shoot themselves. It's not a comfortable thing to see, and it's almost a little bit too real. I kind of wish we weren't committing suicide and just by pulling a trigger to their head or something like that. I don't know if there's a better way to do it or show it. I'm not asking for them to be more gruesome. It's just sometimes I think the show is a little bit desensitized when when it's come to showing gun violence, and especially just straight to people getting shot in the face, and especially if you do it to your own self. It just, I don't know, it's a little desensitizing once you watch it so many times. And I don't know, I don't need any more of it, is what I'm saying. That's enough of my rant. But yeah, we're getting ready to start episode 10, and I am hella excited. I am surprised Will is out in the middle of the field without his daughter. Why didn't he get his daughter attention, medical attention? Is she just straight up dead? Is that a host? Is William a host? What is real? He's talking about dreams. but that's Bernard to talk about dreams, not him. I don't know. By the way, I did love the Ford and Ed Harris scene. It's like they got to get their quota per season of Ed Harris and Will and Robert Ford in the same room, and they have really great scenes. I just think that they play well off each other, and they seem to kind of despise each other. And we might actually have a Robert Ford interaction, or a Robert Ford cause and effect into Will's narrative, Will's real life narrative. Like, is Robert a possible reason that Will's wife committed suicide? And did she do it on purpose? And was her brain saved or whatever? Was her cognition saved? Kelly says she has a prediction that Dolores is Will's wife, has Will's wife's cognition. So I guess that would make sense if he really liked her. But I don't know. Dolores is much older than Will's wife, I believe. I don't know. We'd have to review it and look over check the tapes. But anyways, don't want to stay here too long. Let's start episode 10. Join us. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth. All right. Thank you. Rate, share, subscribe. Lucky Dog Podcast. Add us at Twitter, Lucky Dog Podcast. Email us, the Lucky Dog Podcast at gmail.com. Thank you.